Welcome to Jerk and Jollof with the Joofs. And thank our sponsors, Jerk and Jollof Restaurant, 37 Manor Road, Wallington. Go there, hit them up for your Jerk and Jollof. It's absolutely amazing. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Jerk and Jollof with the Joofs. Today's topic is very dear to my heart, very serious topic that a lot of people suffer from. We're talking about mental health. We have a very special guest, and I'm going to let Cheyenne introduce him.
Yes, so today we have got my good friend Antonio today. He's been nominated for an award for his contributions towards mental health, and currently he is also working on a documentary about his journey through his mental health.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's big up you.
Yes, good to have you here. Good to have you here
Thank
with
you,
us.
man.
I mean, I think a lot of people have like stories. I mean, I've got a lot of stories, in particular about my sister, and it is, it can be quite emotional when you sort of like think about it, and lots of different things trigger off emotions as well. But I mean, right now, there's nothing even more better than that actually than you yourself with us right now, who's actually had sort of like mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
And we'd really kind of like to know about some of your experiences and how you've overcome things and how you're faring now, and maybe what your darkest moments were and stuff like that.
Your journey.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, first thing I'd say was it wasn't the easiest journey. It wasn't something that you just wake up one night and you're like, yeah, you know what, this is gonna change, this is gonna happen. It's nothing like that. You obviously have to go through a lot of hardship, but in that hardship, you gotta realize that these challenges and hardships that we go through are only made to perfect us. You see what I'm saying? So times where I was in the prime of my mental health, I was sectioned for about 2 years, I think it was.
Wow.
So the way they do it is they put you on a section. Section 3 would basically be 6 months, but if they don't see an improvement, they just repeat it. You see what I'm saying? So
Can I ask how old you was? Sorry.
So when it first happened, I think when it started to develop, I was about 15. I remember because I was going through my GCSEs, and that was actually a contributing factor to it, because I was in my high school one of the high achieving people in my high school. So I went on to get 10 GCSEs. Yeah.
Brilliant.
You that? Come on.
But obviously with that as well, you realise it came with a lot of pressure. Do you see what I'm saying? As in, from the beginning, I'll tell you the difference between me and other people.
Sorry, can you just tell people like your condition and what you have? So.
Yeah. So I got diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar personality disorder. But the only thing in that is, in my one, they'd call it emotionally unstable personality disorder. So yeah, that was what I got diagnosed with. But it wasn't obviously clear cut from the start. That was the diagnosis. You know what I'm saying? I went through lots of ADHD, lots of this and that. You know what I'm saying? So it was an ongoing process, and it took a while to get there. And especially like with mental health, when you're young, the hardest thing is kids will be kids. You see what I'm saying? So you can't automatically just say, yeah, this is what it is, because you can't tell if someone's just how they're
active.
Their characteristics. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So obviously that was a challenge in itself as well. But
Pinpointing what exactly.
Exactly, yeah. But as I was saying, so with high school, there was a lot of pressure, and I don't know, maybe you'd call it a bit of stigma as well. But with my pressure, and when I say stigma as well, is, I don't know if you guys can relate, but being from an African descendants, your parents are looking at you like,
high expectations.
you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You see what I'm saying? So, and when I was saying the difference between me and other people, when teachers would say to you, listen, you need to put your head in the book or you're going to fail later on in life. Listen, I wasn't there telling the teacher, no, I got this. I was there like, cool, I'm writing. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're doing exactly what you was told to.
Exactly, because it's stuck in my head, because the first image I get in my head is my mum.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? My mum, my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad's the first person to say to me, don't worry about me, worry about your mum. But I'm still worrying about both of them. You see what I'm saying? So, again, as well, I'm a family of 5 brothers in total, so I'm the youngest. So the fact, and this ain't no pun to my brothers, but the fact that my brothers didn't get as far as my parents wanted them to, it meant I was the last straw. You see what I'm saying? So I drew the short straw.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, there you go. See, so in that so then like I said, I was just putting my head down. Obviously there's a time and place for everything. Canteen breaks, you're doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But when it came into the class, I wasn't in my class. None of my social group were in my class. See what I'm saying? Because I was in the class with the top set people.
Yeah.
And that's not to, put it out there that I'm big-headed or this and that. This
No,
is where you're
it's
gonna
what it is, yeah.
exactly. But
Facts.
this is where you're gonna realize where the drop in confidence went. Do you see what I'm saying? So now that I'm starting with this story, you'll realize where the drop in confidence went. So yeah, so then like I said, I was just putting my head down, doing what I can, boom, boom, bam. Then obviously came GCSE results day. But before that, I know that's when I started getting some sort of like symptoms. You see what I'm saying? Like I was that guy that I was never excluded, but I was always banging out at people. Like I was always lashing out, getting angry, and everyone look at you and be like, "Wow, what's going on?" Like I remember one day.
Just short, a bit short.
Yeah, and I remember one day, and this is to me, it still lives in my head like it's a vivid image. I remember one day we was in the playground on the field, and we was all just messing about, and I mean just messing about like lyrically, you know what I'm saying, verbally. But all of a sudden, something in my head just clicked, and I started just punching to the point where the person I'm punching is on the floor, just like, see what I'm saying, like this, and I'm going like this. This is my friend grabs me and he goes, "Wow, what's going on? Why did you just do that?" I couldn't give him an answer. You feel me? I couldn't give him an answer. I was just telling him like, "Yo, like, I don't know. I felt like something just
Took
Took
over.
over.
yeah, you feel me?" So yeah, and then from there, that's when obviously first signs was my parents were advised to take me to my GP. My GP, you know, they send like surveys and questionnaires to your teachers and school. They done that. From there, boom, I started in CAMS, which is Child Adolescent Mental Health Service. You know what I'm saying? And for real, big up Child Adolescent Mental Health Service. I say they're the best mental health service I've been with. But yeah, so from there, again, like I said, it was a process of finding out what's going on. And it was just like, you see the problem with mental health, and I know everyone is familiar with this. You can't go through like a brain scan and it'll tell you that's what it is. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's processes of watching and observing and questioning and
It's a journey.
exactly. And then the thing with that as well is, if imagine you lots of my family or my friends, doctors can't come to you and be like, "Oh, by the way, Antonio, do you know about Antonio? Do you know about Antonio?" Because that's privacy and all of these things, you know, like all these legalities, and it's like, so it comes to a bit where they're also limited, but what I've noticed as well, they're limited to how much you're telling them. You see what I'm saying? As in, people are complaining like they're not doing enough for me, but how much are you giving them? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, how much are you telling them? Because I can't look at you, and fair enough, yeah, psychology, you're meant to be analytical and whatever, but I can't look at you and then say, you know what, nah, this is you. If you don't, the biggest problem is, if you don't communicate, all I can do is assume. And you see where assumptions are unhealthy?
Yeah.
Because I've only got a small detail of the story and I've got to fill the rest.
Yeah.
Because you ain't telling me enough.
But do you feel as though there was anything specific that kind of like tipped you over on the edge of that day? Was there a build up, or was it just literally bam out of the blue?
Cool. So, all right, cool. So let's say there was a build up, but same way with the second point you said. So again, I said the first point, it was that pressure, GCSEs, right? Now, along with that, I went on to study A-levels at St. Dominic Sixth Form College, yeah? So now I'm at St. Dominic Sixth Form College. In these moments as well, I was also suffering from seizures, so fits. So sometimes I just drop and stop fitting. And this was in college. And I had, I don't know what you'd call it, but key workers would, look after, specifically to your care. So every time I went into that room, without, like, probably 99% of the chance, I was leaving that room in an ambulance because I was fitting. Do you see what I'm saying? So there was then these 2 investigations going on, right? Now, imagine there's one time they've given me medication for epilepsy. But a side effect of this epilepsy medication is it can encourage suicidal thoughts. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've taken this medication now, and this is where it starts to get serious. You see what I'm saying? So now bear in mind, I've got the, ongoing symptoms. Now I've got this medication that also has a side effect that induces suicidal thoughts. Now I remember this as well, again, so vividly. And by the way, I remember a lot of things vividly, like an image, see what I'm saying? So I remember I woke up and this is the morning I was going into college, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud to go into college because I'm studying 4 A-levels, you see what I'm saying? Biology, chemistry, psychology, philosophy. I'm going in there proud, but this morning I've woken up and in my head I'm just thinking, something don't feel right today, do you see what I'm saying? But it's not how I'm describing it now, bear that in mind.
Yeah.
It's more...
intense.
You feel me? So,
deeper.
yeah, so now anyway, the mad thing is when you think about it, and I tell you this, so I phoned up my CAMS mental health service, yeah? And I've asked them to speak to my psychiatrist, my psychiatrist. So now I phoned them and they said, what's going on? Bear in mind, actually, no, they've said, who is this first? I said, you know what? I'm not going to tell you who this is, but I'm going to tell you what my plan is. And they've not said anything. They said, what's going on? I said, listen, I'm going into college. I've got a knife in my bag. Something bad is going to happen. This is basically a cry for help. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want to give you that out of pride. You see what I'm saying? So now she's going, okay, you know what? You don't have to tell me your name, but give me your date of birth. So I gave her my date of birth. But I've never thought she'd find me out on my date of birth. You feel me? Never thought she'd find me out on my date of birth.
Everyone
Imagine how many
That's
people.
all the doctors have to ask you.
Yeah, but imagine how many people share your birthday.
It's true.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
true.
But anyways, now
You're
here.
using their system though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
Still,
how many people are in the
there's a lot of
system? You
children
feel
in
me?
the
Yeah.
system,
But so yeah, so now.
That's when you learn about Big Brother, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, so now obviously she's tried to ask me more information, and this is where obviously I've gotten to what she's trying to do. So I've just hung up the phone. Now it's like I said, I've got the knife in my bag, and I'm just carrying like
But
walking.
did you?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, 100% I did. And full on plan, that was where I was going to end it. You see what I'm saying? Because
Yourself or
myself, yeah. Because what I forgot to mention was with my schizophrenia, it meant that I hear voices. You see what I'm saying? So you have different hallucinations or delusions, whatever. But main things is your perception of reality isn't what is actually going on, and you have some sort of hallucination. So some people are auditory, some people are
visual?
yeah. So obviously I'm hearing voices now, but the problem with my voice, and this is where the second pressure comes in, right? And I'll come back to what I was saying when I'm walking to the college, but the second point of my symptoms is, imagine this is a bus, yeah? We're sitting in a bus. Obviously the bus seats are shaped differently. Me and Shana are sitting here. You guys are sitting forward stacked like that. Now you two at the end are just, normal conversation, laughing, this and that. I'm sitting here and I'm telling Shana, they're talking about me. They're talking about me.
It's
They're talking about me.
paranoia.
You feel me? Yeah, paranoia. But then where it leads and builds on is the paranoia, you
They're
have
gonna
two
do
options.
something.
Yeah, so you have two options. That voice is telling you need to go there and do something about it.
Or they're
If you
going to
don't
do
go-
something to you.
Not even you. They're gonna do something to you. It's if you don't do it, I'm gonna take it out on myself.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's gonna be like, listen, I'm stuck here. Do I go and do something and get myself in a criminal background? You know what I'm saying? Or do I just simply hurt myself? You know what I'm saying? But with me, it was always like black and white. I never ever thought of self-harming, so there was no midpoint. It was, if it's too much, it's over. You see what I'm saying? That's the black and white. You feel me?
For real, there was no middle.
with that. Yeah.
Boy, for real.
So obviously, with that pressure there, that's when that came to that day, and I was like, you know what? If this is gonna keep going on and on, it's so much easier to just take myself away than have to deal with it every day and be like, someone's looking at me, someone's talking about me, this and that, blah blah blah. Do you feel me?
But just to cut you as well, just to kind of like put everything into context in another way as well, is like Cheyenne was with you and was kind of like one of your main confidants at the time when you was going through all of that. So it's quite interesting to kind of like know how that impacted on you and how, sort of like you felt about it. And did you feel supported by Cheyenne as well?
Yes, I mean, to give it a quick brief answer, yeah, definitely. But that obviously came with some complications, you see what I'm saying?
Did you see the signs, Cheyenne? Did you see a change in him?
When I met Anton, there wasn't any. There was nothing going on when I first met you, innit? And then when he went to college, we didn't go to the same college, and probably a year into his condition, did I then? But I started to pick up on some things that was a bit, but I didn't ask him too much. And then when he was comfortable, he told me, and then I was like, okay, cool. But I would say it was more when you had some episodes when I realized he was acting weird. It was just different episodes in like different stages of his life. Definitely.
Yeah.
Was you ever afraid, or was you ever afraid for him, or afraid for
Yeah,
yourself?
of course. I was afraid for him. I was afraid for myself. I was.
Yeah, there's one
afraid-
time in like McDonald's, we was
McDonald's,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time where it was Anton's 18th birthday the night before, and we had a big birthday bash. Big birthday bash.
Yeah. Real big.
Yeah.
Well, your birthday?
Yeah.
Never get the invite though.
I got my 23rd coming.
Say
No,
No old foot. No old
I'm
foot.
there.
No old foot's allowed. No old foot's allowed. But
What? I didn't even hear that, I was just like,
You went over my head, I said, nah,
bro, she's talking about you, though. She's talking about you guys, man.
No, she talked about you still, but anyway.
pointing the finger. Yeah, so it was his birthday bash, and it was a big party. Went down with a big smash. You couldn't ask for more. Next day, I think Anton just wanted to just live it up some more. Like he just wanted to carry on partying. And everyone was just tired though. Like we was tired. Like we was up all night, and it was a big one, innit? So But we was like, okay, cool. We don't want to leave him by himself. Well, this was me and my best friend more so, and the guys as well, actually. So we was like, all right, cool, let's go to this party. But we didn't know whose party it was. We didn't know. It was just a bit of a risky one to just to turn up to kind of thing. But Anton was adamant on going, innit? And obviously, as the friends we are, we're just like, okay, it don't sound great, but if he's walking into fire, let's walk into fire with him and try and prevent the fire still from burning us. But you try the thing. So we got there. It was a bit rocky when we got there, so we said, no, let's leave, innit? But Anton didn't like the fact that we dragged you away and we said, let's go. So I think from then, he went quite silent, and I believe that's when he started hearing some voices and whatnot. He was very silent. So when we got to a McDonald's, he was just in his own zone, not talking to anyone, just anti. But I was just watching him anyways, and then I saw him get up and he just walked to the curb of the street, and he just stood there, and he was just standing there for a long time. And then I saw him crouch down, and I was like, no, let me walk towards him and see what he's doing. And as soon as I started walking towards him, he started to step into the road, and he's stepping into, there's a bus lane, so there's people driving, and they're not driving in the bus lane, but if he would have walked any further, we would have been in the lane, middle lane. So I've run to him and I've got him and I'm pushing him back, and I'm just reassuring him that we love you and that don't do this and that, just love you so much, and we're just repeating that. And he's the little fucking strong, he's pushing me, man. pushing me, and I'm just using all my strength, and then I think he just let go, he just stopped, and then we got back onto the pavement and he listened to me, and it was
what was going through your head at that point?
To me, I know, you know what, it's just, again, you don't have the correct perception of reality. Do you see what I'm saying? So anything, you're thinking the worst of it or the most negative. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even if it's not negative, like I had points where people were doing what they were doing in terms to me bettering myself, but I was taking it as in
you're stopping me from
like,
living
what's
my
going
life,
on?
my
It's
best
Do you know
life.
what I'm saying?
Obviously, his thing was also like medication, like taking it on time. He had the time to take it, but if we're out partying, you can't drink on medication. You can't take it at different time. You need to take it at that specific time.
So, you're
can't
very
drink.
limited.
Yeah.
You're very limited.
Did the medication help you?
At the time, you didn't think it did.
Yeah, nah, of course at the time, but still.
And also there were side effects to yours as well.
Yeah, nah, cool, right, cool. So this is where you have to weigh out the benefits and the risks, and this is how I learned as well. That's how they do it. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to weigh out the benefits and the risks. So, in terms of, I was on the antipsychotic and I was on the antidepressant. You see what I'm saying? So, the antipsychotic, I'd say, was the worst because there was so many side effects. I kept having to switch to medication. And you know, when you think about it, so it's just so much medication in your body. Your body has to regulate that and work it out. Do you see what I'm saying?
It reacts different to everyone.
Exactly. So, but when you think about it as well, I'd say it did help. But you got to remember that medication isn't a miracle. It's not supposed to work on its own. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's say we put it into statistics, or ratio. Sorry, that medication is supposed to be doing 30% of that recovery. About maybe the other 40%, you're supposed to be maybe going through some sort of therapy, to gain that push. And the other 30% is you yourself. You see what I'm saying? But people sit there sometimes and they're like 90%.
I want that medication.
90%. Yeah, give it to me. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I work in a school, and I might deal with a lot of children who are going to their GP because they're having certain thoughts similar to yours. Their automatic thing is, I just need antidepressants, and in their head that's going to make them better. Where I've seen the effects, the negative effects of antidepressants, where it's made them feel suicidal. And for them it's like, why am I feeling like this? But this is supposed to make me feel better.
It's a lot of trial and error as well.
Right.
A lot of trial and error.
And for a specific young person I know, what worked best for them was talking therapy. It was
CBT,
more about the counselling, really. It was just that, it was more than any medication, because basically they stopped all medication and just did more talking, and that is what got them to like a really good place. Really good place. But
Definitely.
You said therapy is like the biggest part of
that
helps you.
You still in it? You still doing?
No, I'm not actually in any mental health program recovery, nothing. Me now, it's just me focusing on myself and, you
Yeah.
know.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And what do you do just out of like, what's your daily kind of habits that you
He's
do?
a footballer. That's what's going on here.
Footballer,
Really?
Obviously, used to be.
You support again?
Man United, come on.
Wait,
That was a lot of screw faces, you know.
Arsenal.
Don't say that here.
Anyway.
Yeah. Nah, but you know what? Yeah, exercise. Listen, a lot of people are gonna look at exercise and be like, "Oh no, but it's long, blah blah." Trust me. Listen, I'm gonna say it right now and watch the reaction from all of you. Yeah. When you want to do something or get a task done, you spend more time overthinking should I do it than you do actually doing it.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
true.
agree.
Just do it. That's the only reason Nike win. Just do it.
That's why lists are so good, because when you write yourself a list and you know, right, I've done that. I've ticked it off, I've done it. You kind of like, you look at that list and if it's not ticked, you ain't done it, so you gotta crack on. You know what I mean? But tell me a little bit about your the other organizations that you're kind of like involved with.
Cool. So I think from about last year, going on 2 years now, I started my journey volunteering for Mind, you know, the mental health charity, volunteering for Time to Change, which is also a branch of Mind. I've done a few short sessions with the Samaritans. I'm now also volunteering for another trust called Ignite, and doing work with another organisation called Partnership for Young London. Just many things, but to go into more detail with those ones that I've mentioned. So Time to Change, I'm a media volunteer, so I've done a few like stories of where I'm expressing what my journey consisted of and how I had to. So I think we done one recently. Sorry, See the Bigger Picture. So it was based on like the less spoken of disorders like bipolar, schizophrenia, you know, the ones that hold a lot of stigma. Like once you hear them diagnosis, all you're thinking is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that one there.
You have to dive deep into
so
that.
So basically Time Change is basically trying to reduce stigma. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's one we done, See the Bigger Picture. Mind is amazing, as in, you know, when you do these things, you network with a lot of people and you stay connected. So with Mind, I started off just going in and giving speeches or talks to newly inducted Mind staff members, you know, to give them a feel of what dealing with mental health is like. You know what I'm saying? So
How old are you?
22 right now.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm so amazed and blown away by your composure, the things that you're involved in, and you know, bearing in mind that, you know, where you've come from and where you are now. Because I mean, you said you spent 2 years in an institution, right? I mean, that's a long time, and like from such a young age, and like you know, just even from how you're sort of like speaking now.
We get tissue, please. Sorry.
You're right.
No, Shine's getting upset.
It's so commendable because
nice.
you know it's you know it's not a small thing. You know, it's not a small thing, and like I think all of us here at the table like can really definitely appreciate and acknowledge, you know, what it is you're doing, and not only that, but just how helpful it is, because I think if you've got other young people who are having problems and stuff like that, it's all well and good, you know, like one of them's old guys, not young people like us, but like one of them. But, you know, it's all well and good.
21-year-old.
It's all well and good, the old guys like talking and giving advice and stuff, but when you can hear it and you're able to kind of like, you know, verbalize what it is that, you know, to get your point across to them and let them be able to, you know, feel what you're saying. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
That's
what
it is, isn't it? And I appreciate that. But that's what it is. It's just like these things are either gonna make or break you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You've got to not. While in them times there, my mind was controlling me. The back somewhere, man, it could be at the front, the side. I don't mind, but somewhere there was telling me as well, you're gonna overcome this. You're gonna overcome this. You're gonna overcome this. You gotta power through. And so I said at the beginning, challenges and hardships are only there to make us better. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not there to keep us low and down. Do you know what I'm saying? They're there to show us, listen, you've got this obstacle. You need to find a way to climb it, not just stay stuck. Do you see what I'm saying? So with that, I guess it was just whole of building resilience. You see what I'm saying? And look at this here. If you put into comparison, remember when I mentioned to you my GCSEs and A levels, So I received a letter from University of Oxford inviting me to come apply to the university. Originally, I wanted to go to university, study medicine to save lives. You know what I'm saying? Then I went through what I went through. Somehow I'm still saving lives. You know what I'm saying? Just by telling my story. You know what I'm saying? So the way life works sometimes is, you've got your goal and you are going to find your goal, but the way you're going to it is going to be a bit different.
It's not always as
See what I'm
plain
saying?
as you think it is.
Yeah, because it would have been nice and easy, you know, straight after college, go to university, after university, go into. But then I'd probably be sitting there after doing my degree, thinking, yeah, I'm a doctor. People are gonna call me Dr. Ferreira, blah blah blah. But whereas I'm doing it now means a lot more. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have that doctor title. People are gonna know.
You've had the actual, you've lived it.
So
you know there's nothing more than that, you know, than somebody actually living an experience and being able to understand. I wanted to ask, have you ever thought about going into schools and like just telling your story? And
so I know your school will benefit the most out of that.
I think that would be pretty useful.
I'm already like,
you're
ready
10 steps ahead.
Yeah, I know you are.
I don't really want to show off, but I really do.
Oh.
No, I mean, I'm talking about getting you into my school.
Oh, okay,
That's why she was more interested
in
the
specifics.
Right, cool. Because obviously there's another organisation.
And just to say, it's not about being big-headed. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, be proud of that.
Listen,
and just,
that there is real, because even so, like, people will meet me at the stage I'm in now. I might think it's big-headed, but it's me telling myself, listen, I went through something here. Listen, I got to take the most of it right now.
You're allowed to be
I
big-headed.
got to make the most of it, because if you knew me years then, you'd be looking at me like everyone else. Let him do it, man. He needs to enjoy himself. He's had some hard times. He really needs to be doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And then there's also a thin line. It's not about, you know, being big-headed, cocky. It's about gaining my confidence back. That's what it is, gaining my confidence back.
That's good,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. The difference is in, I was that guy high achieving, went down so low. Now I feel like I've just raised the bar again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like midway through my pull-up, but I'm pulling over the bar kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So.
Can I ask? Sorry, quick question. How was your family supporting you through this? Like,
Your
'cause I know
dad's
you felt
amazing.
pressure of doing your GCSEs
and your friends too. Because
I'd
be interested to hear
big
about
up my
that.
friends. Yeah, come on.
But more
Big us
so
up,
the
big us up.
more so your family, because I know like how they're perceived and how they worry about what other people think and stuff like that.
We were speaking about that just the other day, innit?
Yeah, so I think, again, so to break it down, with family, more so my parents, again, African descendants, my mum, she's more on this whole like, oh my God, witchcraft, this, do you know what I'm saying? Like really deep situation, she doesn't really understand. My dad there is more so like, you know, kind of just kissing to my mum, being like, no, do you know what I'm saying? But in a sense where I was also quite lucky, because communication is key. So while I'm going through what I'm going through, I'm trying to explain to my parents at the same time. So I'm saying, so I'm giving them that little education while I'm going through. I'm going to tell them, listen, this is, you know what I'm saying? I put it.
And they're not born from this country either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's
so
not their first.
At first, no, of course they didn't get it, but this is where it depends on how you.
And can I just ask you? You know, like with African parents, speaking from personal experience as well, they're always worried about what people say and what
people are, for the family, the name,
that's such a key thing.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly,
sometimes even in terms of like them opening up or being open or even asking for help or whatever else, they're kind of like they're sort of like ashamed because they think it's like something that's bad.
It's reflection on
them.
them.
Exactly, they think it's a reflection on them.
So hear this. So even though as I was just explaining that, you know what, I had to educate them for them to start supporting me, and just to finish that point off, sorry, is that you know what? Why I say I was so lucky in my recovery is I was in hostel, and everyone else in the hostel would get about maybe 1-2 visits. Me, I was getting visits every day. See what I'm saying? To the point where the staff are telling me,
they
you
can't
have
all
all these
come in.
people in
They
here.
can't all come in. We have to stay outside.
Not even you have to sit outside. There's sometimes they call him my dad asked me, who are these guys? My dad's going, they're all cousins. You know what I'm saying? There's one time my brother come into the hostel to see me, and they're telling him all his cousins are here. My brother goes, hey, what cousins? What cousins? What? I don't know no cousins that are here. What are you talking about? Obviously they're showing them, it's these lots. He's like, oh, them cousins. Them cousins. Yeah, all right, cool.
He had visits every day.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I was lucky in my recovery because I still had that support. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
You did.
Whether it distanced at some point or not, I still had that support. But back to your point, why I say that as though is that although to support my mental health, it took educating and they started doing that now. Even so, with the shame and pride of the family name, now where I do my whole campaigning for mental health, they're still a bit skeptical because they're like, oh, but do you really have to go and tell your story? You shouldn't really open up. People are going to judge you. People are going to think this and that, you know what I'm saying? And then you're stuck in two minds. And that as well kind of creates a confusion in your head because you're stuck in two minds. For example, when I go into a job interview, my dad will make it clear, don't mention your mental health. Don't mention your mental health. But if I go into the job and then I have an episode, they're like, why
Right.
didn't you mention your mental health?
Yeah.
We could have
Can't
supported
win.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I'm
Can't
saying?
win.
So
But a lot of places support mental health,
Yeah.
Especially
A lot,
nowadays.
so-
nowadays,
Nowadays.
nowadays, because I've had a few interviews where I've been asked, so is your mental health going to affect your capability to work? Of course it's going to affect my capability to work. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do the work.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, but
Keeping it real.
that ain't going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And more so where you see it as in, I've been through, but I'm here in your interview.
Yeah.
So why was you?
Still
You see what I'm saying?
persevering,
So
so-
why- there must have been something before you knew about mental health that attracted you to bring me to this
Yeah.
interview.
Right.
Because as I've always learned,
Why is
an
that not
interview,
enough?
exactly, and as I've learned, an interview only means they want to give you the job,
Right.
Yeah.
but they just want to make sure in person
That's
that this is
right.
the person.
You fit the bill.
So what's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
Is your mental health going to affect
Yeah.
your capability to work? Of course it will.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to stop me.
Yeah.
It's going to affect it. It's not going to stop me.
Yeah.
And you see the way sometimes you use vocabulary in things. That day is a key factor. And remember I was telling you this the other day.
I do.
Key factor. You know what I'm saying? So to put into two examples, you know the phrase hard work beats talent. What if you thought hard work develops talent? Do you know what I'm saying? Then you hear lockdown. First thing you think, lock and down. They're two like very negative words.
Yeah.
So what if you put indoor vacation, resting period?
Yeah.
Like we're all
Which
in
it
it
was
together.
for me.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we're all in it together. So
Yeah.
no one's falling behind.
Yeah.
We're all in it together.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
it's just sometimes how you perceive
Your
things.
perspective.
Yeah,
your
100%.
perspective, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I say these things either make or break you, because you either sit with that stigma that is on it, or you try to fight that stigma and be like, nah, bro. As in, you know, even with racism, people will settle for that racism because you don't want to sit there, not argue back, but educate that person. You see what I'm saying? Like someone will come to me, oh, schizophrenia, I heard schizophrenia is this. I said, bro, you heard that. And let me tell you what it actually is. Because I'm here giving you that education.
Yeah.
I suffer from schizophrenia. And then the next thing is, I would have never imagined you have schizophrenia. Sorry, bro, schizophrenia meant to have a look or something.
yeah,
like, what's going on? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I never knew it had a
Yeah.
specific look. Like,
So tell me, when you was in the institution, right? Like there, I'm guessing there were people with varying degrees of mental health and that.
Definitely, yeah.
And if that's the case, was it? Because I want to share, you know, some of my own experiences shortly. But was there a case of when you saw people at different levels, let's just say an extreme, did that scare you to think, okay, well, I don't want to be there, or did it encourage you to kind of like work on getting better or being more open and more receptive to therapy?
you know what? That's mad because at the start when I was there, I was thinking, yo, listen, I'm not here for the same reason as you guys, you know. I'm a bit more sane than the rest of you, you know what I'm saying? But
Your roommate was
yeah,
cat.
you know what I'm saying? But obviously, to be respectful.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, but he had a bit of a drug addiction.
Yeah, nah,
So
That's another
So
question.
let's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
add
yeah.
that into it. That's why I'm not
But-
referring to his condition. I'm referring to his drug addiction, which made him extra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the beginning, obviously, even I was a bit like ignorant of mental health. So I'm saying, even though I know I had it, or well, I didn't believe I had it actually. Let me say that, but yeah, I was ignorant until like, you know what? Same way we're all here sitting down, understanding me. The same way you had to sort of sit down with them and understand them as well. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So at first, I'm telling them this because I haven't spoken to them yet. I'm just looking at them and seeing what they're doing. What they're doing, by the way. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but when you actually sit down and
It's
talk
the
to them,
behaviour.
yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm like? Let me come back to it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so when I'm actually sitting down and talking to them, I'm realizing, like we actually have a lot in common. It burns me to say that now after I just said all of that, but we actually have a lot in common. You see what I'm saying? Like whether I like it or not, we actually have a lot in common. There's a lot here that all of us sitting in that room in the hospital can relate to,
Yeah.
because we've either been through something or we're going through something. The way we're handling it is the same. And you see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when you think about it, there's two ways you can think of it. Why are we all cooped up in this place to resonate off each other?
Right.
Or
Right.
are we in this space to tell ourselves, listen, let's better ourselves?
Right.
You
Let's
see
not
what I'm
come back
saying?
here and
let's
see
not
each
come
other.
back here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So again, where the perspective started to change is from, I don't know why anyone would ever think of something like this. Like, how does this even work? To eventually, the reason I even started all my mental health stuff is because I left there saying, you know what? I went in there. Thank God I came out. But right now, I want to make sure no one else goes through what I went through without feeling supported or someone that they can relate to. And this is where I started my whole campaign and mental health enthusiasm, to give that story where it's like, when you think about it, I'm from a background that's not similar to the people that were in the hospital. You see what I'm saying? As in, let's start talking about ghettos. Let's start talking about the hood. Let's start talking about the roads, the streets, and that.
Yeah.
See, that's where my background sort of is accustomed to. Do you see what I'm saying? But when you think about them people there, they're really, really, really peer pressured because me coming out of that place to then coming to where I am now and doing all these things, trust me, 20% of them people are going, waste, man, dickhead, this and that. Oh, God, do you know what I'm saying? Soft you, like, how could, do you know what I'm saying? But the 80% are the high class people networking that are going, we respect you,
Absolutely.
we love what you're doing. So who's gonna matter more? And not to say they don't matter, but who's gonna matter more? You see what I'm saying? Like, cool,
Ignorance
yeah.
is bliss, don't it?
There we go. Like, yeah, you call me the little names there and there, but my man over here owns a business and he's telling me, yo, I really want you in my business. So even though we grew up in the ghetto, doesn't mean you can't grow out of the ghetto.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a mindset.
Yeah, it's a mindset, and a lot of people want to settle for less. That's the problem. And going back to the point that I was gonna make, it's like when I think about my whole mental health journey, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? There were so many ways. So you take a right. When you take that right, what are you doing? Your consequences, you didn't take the left. When you take the left, the only consequences, you didn't take the right. All these turns shape your future in life. Sometimes subconsciously that you don't realize where it's actually taking you until you take a step back and you look, hold on. That left there took me to a dead end. Why didn't I take that right? Sometimes it's too late to go back. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you just nip it in the bud from early, you're like, all right, cool, yeah.
No,
I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know. You see what I'm saying?
Can I ask, do you think that mental health is hereditary, or do you think it's based on an experience that one has in life? Or, I mean, I know there's the case of drugs. I know drugs has an effect. But do you think that it's hereditary, or do you think it's something that is a trauma that is undealt with?
Well, as a whole, mental health as a whole.
What you experienced?
Okay.
Or other experiences that you might know.
Like other people that were in.
I would just see, with other people, I definitely lean towards the side of trauma, but I think there's a bit of hereditary in it as well because things for me, there wasn't so much trauma, as in I didn't really go through something that changed my whole life. So I'm saying it was just the fact that I set myself really high
expectations.
Yeah.
So I was saying the question was about, is it hereditary or do you think that trauma is involved? And you mentioned that obviously you had the pressure of your GCSEs, and some could say, well, that's not really a big thing. That's not going to cause that. 100%. But in the mind of a young person, that is a lot of pressure. And I feel like from the days when I was at school and I was doing my GCSEs to now, I'm a teacher and I work in a school. I see the pressure that it's not even coming from the parents sometimes. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. It's the individual that is putting this pressure. 100%. And I do understand that sometimes teachers can install what they may be thinking is encouragement or putting things in a way to make them, that reverse psychology thing, but actually can have such a negative effect on the child because they're comparing themselves to somebody else, and that pressure of self is much more deeper than anything else sometimes.
100%, yeah. I mean, with that, of course, like you said, it's your individual pressure and the pressure from every single stimulus around you. See what I'm saying? But what you've got to also remember is, in that first point where you said some people might think, oh, but that's not enough. Yeah. You're forgetting that. I said I drew the short straw. Yeah. I had 4 other brothers. So not just one pressure coming in. Yeah. They're about 3, 4 in one go. Yeah. And like you said, at that young age, how do you deal with so much pressure? You see what I'm saying? And again, so from what you said, you do have the teachers that are trying to be encouraging, but they're not aware that sometimes
they're putting extra pressure.
Yeah. Especially when you're a top student and they want you to stay at that point. They're going to make sure.
And they're looking at their results.
And they're saying, this is my result, to be honest.
I'm relying on this one, that one, and that one to get this mark, to make me look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so,
that's what they look at.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, I think I had a few teachers. You have the 1-2 people that'll pick up, like, oh, this is
it's not like
you know what I mean? But again, this is where sometimes the issue is with, like, I mean, in them times at least, where the mental health talk wasn't as prominent as it is today, is that they forget everything else that's going on and you just focus on one thing. That's where the issue is. And I mean, even with that, like, this is where I say, like, it's a shame I couldn't do it then, but when I look back at myself now where I am back then, there were so many things I could have done, but I never live in regret, because I tell myself there's so many things I could have done, but what I could have done, I'm going to do now. You see what I'm saying? So in that time there where, or I even believe, a lot of people that are going through depression or whatever mental health you want to call it, they're blaming other people, or they're blaming other things that's going on.
External.
But you got to take responsibility sometimes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if it's not your responsibility,
Yeah.
take responsibility. That's only going to make you a better person.
Yeah.
You
But
see what I'm saying?
You mentioned earlier about you having resilience.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is that not only do a lot of children nowadays, I find children nowadays, don't have a lot of resilience. They don't have the resilience that I feel like a lot of us grew up with. You know, we had to do things like, we had to go to school by ourselves and walk. I don't know, 20 minutes
you know
across
what?
how much road, and our parents wasn't so nervous about it. Now, as parents, we go, oh, I've got to drop my child here. And I include myself in that, you know, to a certain extent. But I do always try to check myself. But we do all these things, which then creates a child, a fearful child. I can't do that. I can't do this. Oh,
So on that note, sorry, just where I have noticed that as always, that I don't know if it's a London, UK thing. I'm not even sure. But I feel like we're in this city that we're in, London, a lot of things are handed to us. You see what I'm saying? Like you said back in the days.
Yeah.
Our parents, so as I said, the fact that even my parents were a bit skeptical and this and that, that's what built my resilience, because I was like, oh, I need to do something here. I can't just leave someone else to do it for me or rely on someone else to do it for me. And nowadays it's all nice and sweet, you know, having this support for mental health and this and that. But I also, at some point, and somehow, some way, I think we still need to start challenging them, you know. Because the only thing I was taught was challenge those voices. Ain't no one else challenging those voices but mine. You see what I'm saying? Because it's my voices. So what, are you gonna get into my head and start, listen, no. It doesn't work like that. So at some point I'm thinking as well, like, you've got to challenge yourself.
There's been many times
and
where
it's too many
talk you out of things, but
and
it'll just happen again. You have to really be the one to put a
and everything is just handed to us. That's why we think we've got such an easy way of life. So when something gets taken away from us, we explode. You see what I'm saying? We drop. And in psychology, like, they say to you, you know how you sometimes develop a phobia. So for example, arachnophobia, so like scared of, I think it's
spiders.
Spiders, that's it. I was gonna say insects, but anyway, close enough. But spiders, you know how usually that develops from childhood. Say for example, I'm a baby, right? But as a baby, I don't know any better. So I see a spider and I'm going to touch it because I just want to find out what it is. You know, we learn as a baby from
touching things,
experience, touching things, experience, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to touch it, and now you do this. You slap my hand. You go, no. That in a child, psychologically, it builds a wire in their brain, more so than neurons, where when they grow up, they're gonna be like, my mom hit me that, or my dad hit me that last time I touched a spider. That creates a fear, 100%. And it turns into a phobia. You see what I'm saying? So your childhood experience plays a great part in what happens later on in the future. But it's only so much so where you obviously have your nature, nurture. You know, so the nature you're in, the environment will influence whatever, but also your genetics and what you're born into. And then so with that as well, it's even though I have this sort of resilience and whatever so you want to call it, I'm still trying to tell you, but what differs from me than to you? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I built my resilience. I done this, whatever. But I can probably tell you I'm not the only one that's been able to do such a thing. Probably the only one that can do it in the way I'm doing it. But there's plenty of other people out there. The problem is, when you have knowledge, what are you doing with that knowledge? No one's doing what we're doing here, giving out that knowledge. You have that knowledge. What are you doing with that knowledge? You have that label. What are you doing about that label? You're unsatisfied. What are you doing about being unsatisfied? So all it is, even when, and it sounds bad, but when, now me, when I've obviously had my issues and people are seeing what I'm doing, they want to start talking to me about their issues and that. I give you, what's called the elevator pitch. I'll give you 30 seconds to explain your issue. After that, if you haven't involved in that 30 seconds, what you're doing about it, I don't want to hear the rest of it. And it's harsh. I know it is. It's harsh. But how can I help you if you ain't helping yourself?
Absolutely.
Are we supposed to both jump in the deep end and drown? You see what I'm saying? There's some part of you that's got to push yourself towards it, because my resilience didn't come from anyone else.
That's how, like our friendship group kind of like dispersed a little bit was when we was doing a lot to help Anton. I was trying like a lot, but like he said, it was his journey. He had to wait until he can stop like being, like he said, ignorant at one point and just realize, hold on, I do have a condition. I really got to actually tackle it.
He probably had to understand himself because until you understand what you're actually going through, you're just thinking something's not right. I know I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So until he knows
it was a journey.
What it is, you can't explain it to anybody else sometimes. You know?
100%.
He would try his best to, and we would try and be an ear and whatnot on a shoulder.
But you know what? Even with that, like that was a huge conversation we had the other day, like with friends. Like when I was in hostel, like I said, I had a lot of people coming to visit me, and this was at first a lot of people coming to visit me, whatever. But by probably the second year or 6 months, or I don't know, whatever. I'm not to be specific on time, but there's only about 2-3 people who were there. And that in my head, I thought, wow, people are leaving me behind. No one wants to deal with me. This and that. Until me and you spoke the other day, and we realized, no. Remember I said you focus on one thing, you forget what's going on around it. So I'm going through what I'm going through, but you're forgetting
somebody else is going through something else.
And she has to carry on her life. She can't pause her life to pursue your life. You see what I'm saying? And along with that, if you're not doing yourself the favor, I can't keep pushing you. You know what I'm saying? Listen to this, You know tow trucks, pickup trucks. They're called pickup trucks, right? When you break down, they carry you, right? We're not pickup trucks. We're not tow trucks. We're not meant to be picking you up and carrying you through the way. We'll support you. So here, take the rope. But I'm not gonna put you on my back and carry you all the way. Same way, I'll give you the plate, but I'm not gonna feed you off the plate. And that's why I'm saying percentages come into this, because it's partly what am I doing, and then how can I help you further? You see what I'm saying?
Let me just ask you a question. Part of it is a little bit silly, but another part is like it's quite poignant. No, it's silly. Trust me. No, it's silly. Trust me. Right? When you've had voices, right? Do they have an accent?
Oh no, you know what? That's not even a silly question.
It's not silly.
No, be real with you. You know why that's not silly?
I want to know if they have an accent, and also, do they have a tone? Is one a whisper? Is one aggressive? Like
So hear this, Why it's not a silly question? Because I promise you, when I used to get asked about
Portuguese or one
No, listen.
Just imagine, you get a yardie voice.
Because obviously,
No. Bucks that food over.
Get your machete and chop her up.
No. I wanted to ask, just before you answer, to add to that, because you know when you watch films and there's something like Split, for example. There's so many different characters and voices and even Ratched recently. This woman was switching into some crazy.
I watch that.
Oh yeah,
it's a good film.
Yeah, some crazy characters. So they had different personas and voices, and so I also wanted to add that so you can.
Why I say it's not a silly question is because when you do go for your assessments and stuff, and they ask about the voices, the one question they ask is, do you recognize the voice? Does it sound like someone familiar? Does it sound like this? Do you know what I'm saying? And then they ask, can you hear it in your head or can you hear it outside? Certain things, you know what I'm saying? So with my voices, I tell you what, I don't think they sounded any different than myself, but in the sense that it sounded a bit more passive, if you see what I'm saying, like where it was like I had
giving you an option.
No, like a conjoined twin kind of thing. So I'm saying like there was someone else that was controlling my thoughts and my decisions and so on, etc., etc. But it was more so like my own voice, but my own voice of sort of like a twin giving it to me. So I'm saying like I could sit there and ask myself a question. There'll be a voice giving me the answer. And they say, and bear with me, they say, you talking to yourself is not a bad thing because it means that you're aware and you're conscious of what's going on.
Check yourself
all
the time.
you know what I'm saying?
All the time.
But what makes it a problem is when you put action into those talking to yourself.
I do that too.
Do you answer back your voices?
But as in out loud.
Yeah.
But now?
Now.
No, not now.
Oh, before.
Because sometimes I answer myself back.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's not a problem. You see what I'm saying?
That's you're aware of it.
But what I'm saying is the problem with action is when it's a command,
right?
Like a very negative command. Because if my voices were positive, that wasn't my voices. That was me fighting my voices.
I remember you telling me one time when you had a fight with a voice in your head.
Yeah, that's
when you were talking with your dad and you were just having a normal conversation and then out of nowhere you just swung for him.
Yeah. So that was.
But it was the voice.
Yeah, it was the voice. But 100%. Yeah, I think like I said, it's alright to talk to yourself to a certain extent. Yeah. Because you're aware and you're conscious of what's going on. But it's how that You know, with mental health issues, yeah. You know, there's a criteria that they say, does it affect your day-to-day activities and how you go about activities? That's where it kind of becomes a problem. Everyone's got mental health. Some people have just got poorer mental health than other people. And some people don't know how to manage certain situations or deal with certain situations. Back in the days, someone could give me a little screw face like I told you, and I'd be like, are you nuts? Like, what's going on?
Like, talk him
yeah,
down,
literally,
boy.
yeah, you
no,
would have to
he
talk me
didn't.
down.
No, but he looked. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and my brother, he says this. He's like, listen, he had some next monkey strength. When he got into that state, you couldn't hold him back.
This
Like,
guy.
he was doing like Muhammad Ali, like box and weave, like, you know what I'm saying? But now, someone comes to me with screw faces me or whatever, I'm looking at them, I'm smiling, saying, listen, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes,
I hope you have a good time, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's being humble, but also understanding that sometimes people come to you, you don't know what's happened to them in the past hours before they've come to you. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah.
So, and the problem with
Perception,
it,
isn't it?
exactly, the problem with it is, this is the biggest thing I want to say. Look at me now, yeah, the way I'm dressed. My jeans are still sagging, right? Yeah? First thing people are going to think, negative, stigma, blah, blah, blah. I tell you what, the reason I do that is because I say, why do I have to give you a certain look for you to give me a chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do I have to do that? Because once you start talking to me, all of you are going to flip like, oh my God, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So why have I got to look a certain way for you to give me a chance? And what I say is, judging a book by its cover is not a bad thing, because that's only human nature and survival.
True.
You know, you get a feeling, judging a book, that's survival. But it's where you make something out of that judgment and stop that and limit yourself to creating that connection with someone because of that judgment. You know what I'm saying? So I do certain things like subliminally on purpose just to prove a point. Really, I shouldn't, because again, I am satisfied with myself and where I am now, but it's to show other people, like, just
but
because
you never know the effect it might have on the other person when you do that.
yeah,
It's a
exactly. There you
lesson
go.
that they're
Yeah, there you go. See what I'm saying?
learning.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, cool. Yeah, you're seeing me dressed like this, and you know, showing this and blah blah blah. But it's what you hear from my heart when you speak to me. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not gonna give me the chance and you're just gonna look at me, why am I wasting my time on you? You know what I'm saying? Like, time is expensive. If you can't pay the price for my time, why are you wasting my time?
One thing we haven't touched on is us, in the sense of if we've got friends that have mental health. There's a lot of friends that you have around you that might not realise that you actually have mental health. But I'll share one of my stories where one of my friends was at a wedding, and he got a weird call from his friend saying, you know what, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me, and you know, you've been a really good friend to me, and you know, I just want to thank you and just let you know I love you. And at the time, he's like, what are you talking about, man? It's fine, I love you too. He didn't think nothing of it, and he put down the phone. But he probably had like a few brandies and cokes later and said, no, hold on,
This is not right.
something's not right here. And he was far away at this point, but he actually said, you know what, mate, can I borrow your car? He drove down to his friend's house and noticed that all the lights was on, but the music was really loud. And he knocked, he wasn't getting any answer. So he took it upon himself to actually kick the door in. And when he did, he had actually found that his friend had cut his wrist. Blood was pouring everywhere. So he grabbed onto his wrists and tried to stop the bleeding, but he realised he couldn't do it that way. So he found towels and wrapped his wrists and whatnot, and had him sent to hospital. But his thing was, if he didn't take the time to, you know, check for his friend
and just deep to
realise
himself,
that something
reflect.
was,
Take serious action, actually,
His
because
friend.
kicking in the door, that's like,
most people
Yeah.
want to kick in the door, but he did that because that was his friend. And if he hadn't have done that, to be honest, his friend would have been dead.
He had that gut
because
feeling.
he actually met his friend unconscious. So at that point, it's very scary. So I just think that, you know.
And do you believe that was a cry for help?
I don't know.
In a sense.
I just think. I don't think it was.
Sometimes
Was that the only phone call he made?
He made two, because the first phone call he actually ignored the phone call, said it's too late. Then the second time he said, let me pick up.
oh, two to the same
Oh, to the
person, but
same
yeah,
person.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Did he call anyone else?
I don't know. I didn't actually go that far. I think I was just shocked. And my thing is, if you've got friends that have mental health, I've got friends that have mental health. Look out for them.
100.
And you know, pick up on things
Yeah.
a lot.
You know
Be
what?
more, do you know what I mean? More than you would
100,
so
Yeah, definitely.
than a regular person that doesn't have any sort of mental illness.
Yeah,
Because a lot of
definitely.
people are quick to just say, they're just nuts.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
not think nothing more of it.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, people are quite selfish.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question
They
on
think
that?
about their life.
So can I ask you a question on that, though?
Yeah, sure.
You know how you were just talking about the pressure that I had on myself from other people. In a sense where you just said, look out for your friends, this and that.
Yeah.
You know, when you put the idea into someone's head, mental health, look out for your friends, do you feel like that then creates a pressure for the friend as well, and that could possibly make them distance from the person because they're like, I can't deal with this pressure, always having to look out for you?
I mean, the thing is, it depends, because if that person really checks for you, that shouldn't even come into question.
But do you recognise it also, though?
Sometimes you can. If you know your friends, you might know. I've got friends. I know the difference between my sane friends. Yeah. I know the difference between my mentally ill friends. I'll put it that way.
And are they getting help?
Some are, some aren't.
But another thing I think to take note of is what you said, is that we've all got mental health.
Yeah,
because I think somewhere along the line, there is always a point in our lives where we might have felt a pressure or whatever it is. There's different levels. It's a bit like,
depression.
There was a time where I was uncontrollably crying, like it just was just pouring out. I couldn't stop, and it lasted for hours, days.
What was it associated with? Do you associate it with anything specific?
Yeah, I feel like it might.
Was it when I told you off?
No, no, that did. I don't know. I think it was more towards just like it was something to do with family, and just my relationship with my mum probably, and just that I don't know. It was just a lot. It was probably a lot of things that I like to like pack in and put in a box, and it just all just started to tumble out. It was just that time to just let it all out, and it just was just pouring out. Couldn't stop whatsoever. I just had to let it all go.
And some people see crying as a weakness, or you know, I don't want to cry.
Yeah, more time my crying is angry that I'm anger that I'm crying.
But also, I think it's a release. 100%. I think when you let that out, there is a release. Yeah. And the more you try to hold things like crying, talking, all these things in, it's just a build up, and then there's the explosion. You know, and that's when the other things can come. You know, the other titles or whatever you want to call them can come. The labels. Yeah. You know, but I think you're right in saying that. I do think that we all do at some point. Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? You're so right when you say to varying degrees. Because I remember, and even now when I say it doesn't feel like it was a serious issue, but I just always remember it. When I left school, like I literally finished school, and I wasn't actually sure at the time whether I was going to go to sixth form or to college. And just that kind of like, that decision or lack of kind of like I was panicking a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you know you're 16 now, and it's like, you know, what am I gonna do? And like when you're from sort of like, you know, a traditional African household, you know that a decision needs to be made. You're not gonna lounge for any period of time.
Of idleness.
A year off.
You can't be idle.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I remember saying that to my mum. I'll just have a year off. She just looked at me and said,
"You're not in my house."
Yeah. So and just at that time, and it probably lasted for like maybe like a day or two. But I just felt a bit confused and a bit out of sorts. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's funny how the smallest of things can kind of like, you know, trigger off onto other things as well. So yeah, I hear that fully. Okay, so this has been a very deep one. It's been really enjoyable. And it's been so enjoyable that we actually have to have a part 2 because we're not able to fit everything into a part 1. So catch us back here, Jerk and Jollof with the Joofs, part 2, mental health.